Hey besties, if you have a healthcare interview coming up and you're confused about what questions to focus on, then this video is just for you because I'll be talking about 10 common interview questions and answers. If you are going for any healthcare interview, it is highly likely that at least 4, 5, 6, 7, or even all of these questions could be something they would ask you. If you've been following my healthcare interview series, you know how we do this. So I would list the question out, then explain the rationale behind the question and guide you towards what you are expected to say. So the first common interview question is, tell me about yourself. And this is common not just in the healthcare industry, but in other industries, because this is the time when you're meant to give out your elevator pitch. And if you've read my ebook guide, then you definitely know what an elevator pitch is. If you haven't read or bought the ebook guide, your elevator pitch is that statement where you introduce your strengths and skills to your employer. So in this case, when they ask you that question, they don't want to know about your family background. They don't care about the personal details of your life. No, you're supposed to use that question to hook them. So I would always advise that before you go into an interview setting, you should have your elevator pitch. And in that elevator pitch, focus on the skills they've listed in your job description. So now, if I'm going for a job, the first thing I would do is to read the job description, because upon applying for that job, there was a job description where they listed out the skills they want, such as active listening, skills like good communication skills. It just depends on the job. Now, I would familiarize myself with that job description and tailor my elevator pitch to that job description. That way, when I'm telling them about myself, I am listing out my skills that is in line with the job description. So you would notice that when you are in an interview setting, most times your interviewer would actually have a marking scheme or something they are marking with. And those that don't have any physical copy of something they are marking with, there are cameras around. Even if you're not seeing any physical representation of them taking note of what you're doing, they really are. And most times they take note of if your introduction tallies with what they expect that they've put in the job description. So this thing is very easy. In the job description, they've given you skills that they care about. So why not tailor your tell me about yourself answer to the skills? Of course, if truly you're not a good communicator and those are skills they've put in the job description, it's important. In fact, why are you applying for the job if you're not even tallying with the job description? Because there's no point, you will not be very good at the job. So if your skills tallies with the job description, then why not just list them out? So I would say something like, I'm a dedicated healthcare professional with 3 years plus experience in the healthcare industry, where I have supported adults with mental health disabilities as well as learning disabilities. In my previous roles, I have demonstrated strong clinical skills, strong communication skills, as well as my commitment to patient-centered care. So that's something like what I would say. Of course, you can say things that are even longer. It's your time to shine. It's literally your platform to give out that elevator pitch. By the way, in my ebook guide, I list out what your interviewer is looking for when they expect you to give out your elevator pitch. So if this is something you want to have, then click the link in the description box and you'll see how to get it. So now the second common question you'll be asked is, why do you want to work in the healthcare industry? And that's a very important question, because if you are applying into the healthcare industry, why? They are trying to test your intention. Now, the absolute wrong answer is because of money. It is irrelevant if truly that's your desire, but you cannot be telling your prospective employer that the only reason you are applying for that job is because of your financial situation, because no one cares. They don't care about it at all, and it does not even profit you to make it look like it's just because of finances you are applying for the job. So let me read out the answer I would usually say, because I write these things down. So I would usually say, I've always been drawn to healthcare industry because I want to make a positive impact in the life of others. I find fulfillment in helping others, and I believe that healthcare provides a meaningful way to do that. I'm inspired by the opportunity to use my skills and expertise to improve the health and well-being of individuals and communities. So now, before my healthcare interview, I would usually write down my likely answers, not for the purpose of cramming it, but to actually have a guide of what I am meant to say. So when it's time to say it, obviously I will not have my phone or a piece of paper while I'm talking to my prospective employer, but because I've already written down the main things I need to highlight, it becomes easier. So now your goal for wanting to be in the healthcare industry can be for personal reasons. You can say something like, my interest in the healthcare industry started when I supported my autistic brother, and at that point I realized how impactful it can be for people that feel vulnerable, and it ignited in me the interest to be a healthcare professional. So there are various reasons you can give. You can't just say you are passionate for the healthcare industry just like that, because everyone can say that. Everyone is passionate, but that's not the point. So when you are answering that question, ensure you add some substance to your answer. So now the third question they can ask you is, what are your strengths and weaknesses? Now, first off, let's talk about strengths. When they ask you about strengths, my go-to answer would be to list out the strengths that is in the job description. See, once you master the job description, it will be very difficult for you to just fail the interview, because of course you can still master it and not do well in the interview, but it reduces the chances of you not doing well, because their job description is like the marking scheme. It's literally like your teacher is giving you their marking scheme, because that's what it is. So if in the job description they want an analytical thinker, in my strength, what would be the first thing I would say? You guessed right. I'm not going to be saying something that is off point. I will say strengths that actually tallies with the job description. Also, in terms of weaknesses, I would not list out any weakness that they need in the job description. For instance, if in the job description they tell you that they want someone with active listening skills, then in my weakness I now say I have challenges with listening. How do you think I will get the job? Like, if it's you, will you give yourself the job? You wouldn't. So for the weakness, ensure that your weakness is not something that would hurt you at all. Let it be something that does not really matter in the grand scheme of things. Also, don't make the mistake of saying you don't have a weakness. It will not even sit well with your prospective employer, because first of all, that's a big fat lie. Don't come and act like, oh, your weakness is that you are a perfectionist. For instance, you actually can have the weakness of perfectionism. However, when you say it in an interview setting, it is interpreted differently, because it almost feels like you've put yourself in that pedestal that you can do no wrong, and that comes across very wrongly. It rubs people off the wrong way in an interview setting, so you don't want to do that. All you need to do is to highlight a weakness that is not that deep for the job. So this is my answer. One of my strengths is my ability to communicate effectively with patients and colleagues, fostering trust and collaboration. I'm also highly organized and detail-oriented, which allows me to manage complex tasks efficiently. As for weaknesses, I sometimes have difficulty saying no when asked to take on additional responsibilities. However, I've been working on setting boundaries and prioritizing tasks to maintain a healthy work-life balance. Now, forget the strength, because obviously the strength is something that I know that is relevant in every healthcare sector. They want you to be a good communicator, so that's a very easy strength to just pick. But for weakness, see what I've done there. I've told them I find it challenging saying no when asked to take on additional tasks, which obviously suggests that, see, for me, I am a workaholic. Now, although your employer can say they don't want you to be a workaholic, deep down they benefit from you being a workaholic. So I've given them that as a weakness, but deep down I know that it's not a weakness to them, because it's like, okay, she's going to be a hard worker. So, but then when listing out the weakness, I don't just say I find it difficult saying no to additional tasks. I also stated how I combat it. So it's not just enough to say, oh, this is my weakness. No, how are you trying to work on that weakness? By the way, if you're enjoying this video, please do well to give me a thumbs up and drop your comment in the comment section. Number 4, how do you handle stressful situations? Now, this is a very important question, because If you've ever been in the healthcare industry, whether as a care worker, support worker, or in whatever field, you would know that the healthcare setting is a very fast-paced setting. And this is irrelevant whether it's in domiciliary care, in nursing home, or even in the NHS. The jobs are usually fast-paced and there is a high level of stress. So as much as your employer actually wants you to work, they want to ensure that you don't collapse on them, because when you are so stressed, what happens is either you're not doing well on your job or you start calling in sick. And obviously, if you're calling in sick, it's going to impact your colleagues and the overall organization. So they want to ensure that you know how to handle and balance your life. So this is going to be my answer. I approach stressful situations with a calm and level-headed demeanor. I prioritize tasks, break them down into manageable steps, and focus on solutions rather than dwelling on the problem. I also utilize stress management techniques such as deep breathing, mindfulness, and regular exercise to maintain my well-being and resilience. This to me is a perfect answer, literally. Like, what can they say to that? You've explained how you manage stress. You did not say, oh, you don't feel stress, because that's a big lie. You've explained how you manage stress, and you've even given examples of things you do. You can say you go to the gym, you can say you practice affirmations, meditations, you ground yourself, anything so far you intentionally handle stress. And the fifth question is, describe a challenging patient interaction you've had and how you reacted to it. Now, this question can be difficult for people that are just new to the healthcare industry. So this is your first interview, your first job. Obviously, for people like that, whatever you answer should be centered around your informal care experience, because I firmly believe that even if you don't have like lots of experiences in the healthcare industry, you've cared for someone in your life. Whether you are a mother, you are a granddaughter, you've cared for someone, maybe your aged parent, uncle with a mental health disability. Especially if you are from anywhere in Africa, you've most likely cared for someone. If you don't have that paid experience, you can leverage on your informal experiences. I don't want to talk too much on people that don't have so much experience, even though I've gotten some questions and I think some people may benefit from a video solely focused on those that have never done anything care, because I keep getting questions like that. If you want me to talk more on that, let me know. But now, moving over to the main question, when they ask you that question, they know that because of how like fast-paced the healthcare setting is, sometimes some patients can be very volatile, and they want to know how you would react. Would you just act in a very insensitive manner? Would you act very brash? Do you have emotional intelligence? Would you be able to self-regulate, or would you just be so reactive? So that's what they want to know, and this would be my answer. I encountered a patient who was anxious and resistant to treatment. I took the time to listen to their concerns, validate their feelings, and provide reassurance. Through empathetic communication and patient education, I was able to build trust and collaborate with the patient to develop a care plan that addressed their needs and preferences. So now I've answered the question because I've described a situation in the past where I supported a client that was being challenging. Now you don't have to answer something similar to mine, because if you've never dealt with maybe a care plan or things like that, then obviously this answer would not apply to you. But if you've ever worked in the healthcare setting, you will definitely have an example of a patient interaction that it didn't just go so well, and you can draw from those experiences and give that as an example. Because the beautiful thing about if you've been in the healthcare industry before is that you would always remember some of the interesting experiences you've had working with patients. The sixth question is, how do you stay updated with advancements in the healthcare industry? Now, the reason they ask this question is because they want to know if this healthcare industry is something you care about, or you just want to, as I said, make money and fly away. But you have to show them that, no, see, I actually care about this industry. I care about being educated. I just care. So this is usually my answer. I'm going to say something like, I'm committed to lifelong learning, and I stay updated with advancements in the healthcare industry through various channels. I attend conferences, workshops, and seminars, read reputable medical journals, and participate in continuing education courses. I also engage in discussion with colleagues, and I follow industry news to stay informed about emerging trends and best practices. So that's going to be what I would answer. By the way, I have various care and support worker interview questions and answers. In fact, I have 4, and I know that you all love it and you've benefited a lot from it. So if you are just watching this video for the first time and you've not watched any of those videos, then I think you should go to my channel and check for playlists. And when you click on my channel, don't just go to videos, go to playlists. Once you click on playlist, you see a playlist of various content that I've created, and there is one for the care and support worker interview questions. There is one for HR. Click on any of them and you'll see various answers to questions like this. So now the 7th common question is, can you describe a time when you had to work as a team? Now that is a very common question because in fact they can ask you in various ways. They want to know if you are a collaborator, if you are a team player, or if you are just a lone wolf. And the truth is, some of us are actually lone wolves. We rather do things ourselves. However, that's not what your employer would want to hear. They want to hear that you know how to collaborate well, you are a team player. So this is what I would usually say. Collaboration is essential in healthcare, and I've had many positive experiences working as part of a team. For instance, I recently collaborated with interdisciplinary team members to develop a comprehensive care plan for a complex patient. We pooled our expertise, communicated effectively, and coordinated care to achieve optimal outcomes for the patient, which is something that actually happened. But obviously, if you've never been involved in anything like this, you can give various examples. Collaboration in the healthcare industry works in 2 different ways. The first is you collaborating with your patients and their family members. So you can talk about the aspect of collaboration if you've ever communicated with a parent or maybe a service user. Or collaboration in the second sense is collaboration with other professionals like you, which is what I talked about here, which is the interdisciplinary communication, where you are communicating with people like you, and this could be your colleagues or people in another sector. For instance, as a social worker, collaboration could be me talking to a nurse or talking to an occupational therapist. For a care worker, it could be collaboration with the social worker. It could just come in various ways. So it's important to decide on what aspect of collaboration you want to focus on. You can even talk about both. That shows a high level of knowledge and that registers well to your interviewer. Now, the 8th question is, how do you handle conflict with co-workers or supervisors? This is very important. In fact, I have done a video on how to manage a difficult co-worker or boss, and I will link it up here because it's very important to know how to manage these relationships. Now, they ask you this question because your boss does not want drama at work. So they want to know how you're going to be able to manage conflict or manage people, because people management skill is something that we all need to learn if we are working in a company or even to exist in society. So when they ask you that question, they want to know whether you are a reactive person or you know how to be a professional when you're at work, because you should be. So my answer would usually be, I believe in addressing conflicts directly and respectfully with a focus on finding solutions that benefit patient care. Before I go on, this introduction, I've made it quite clear that, see, my focus is on my patients because that's why I'm paid, literally. So let's continue. I'm open to feedback, willing to listen to others' perspectives, and proactive in resolving conflicts through constructive communication and compromise. If necessary, I involve a mediator or supervisor to facilitate resolution while maintaining professionalism and mutual respect. Now, if you want to go deeper, say go deeper. If you want to go deeper, you can even explain how you would ensure that conflicts are resolved. For me, I would usually say something like, if there is an issue with a co-worker, I would usually approach the person in a constructive manner and inquire if I've done anything to have triggered them. If there is anything I've done, I will take responsibility for my actions and apologize. And if there isn't, I would also, in a respectful manner, talk to the co-worker about what my challenges are, and hopefully have a resolution. In the instance that that's not possible and it's likely going to impact our work, I will consider involving a mediator, which may be a supervisor. In fact, let me not just go too much about this particular topic because I've made a video on it. So in fact, I've made too many videos, besties. Go and watch it. By the way, if you want one-on-one time with me where I'm able to provide solution to any challenge you are having, you can click the link in the description box. Of course, it is paid. Also, if you want me to revamp your CV, maybe your healthcare interview CV, then do well to, just check the description box and you will see all my services if you are interested in any. So now the 9th question is, what do you consider to be the most challenging aspect of working in healthcare? Now, I feel this question is a little bit of like a freelance one. Obviously, don't go and say something that can indict you. Everything you are saying, be conscious. You're being graded. It's not family and friends meetup. It is serious business. So whatever you're saying, just ensure that it's not going to have any likely negative effect on you. So this will be my answer. One of the most challenging aspects of working in healthcare is dealing with uncertainty and unpredictability. Healthcare environments can be fast-paced and dynamic, requiring adaptability and quick decision-making. However, I view the challenges as opportunities for growth and learning, and I'm committed to continuously improving my skills and knowledge to provide the best possible care to patients. Now, in that answer, if you can notice, I have also praised myself. See, when you have any question that deals with challenges, weaknesses, negativity, in your answer, look for a way to bring one positive thing. Whether it's how you are able to cope with it, how you are able to deal with it, because that shows that you are not the kind of person that will just be complaining and not doing anything, not being proactive in making a decision or making your situation better. Now, the 10th question is, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Now, this is a question that when I talk to some of my clients, because I've had some one-on-one calls with some of you by besties, and I'll just be laughing. You ask me, what should you say to where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? And the answers I've received, I'm like, you are not serious. You're not serious at all. For instance, in case you don't know, I own a fashion brand. It's called Adazempire. You can check us out both on Instagram and on TikTok, and even on my website, adazempire.com. Now, it's my fashion brand. If I'm in a healthcare interview and they ask, where do I see myself in 5 years' time? Would it make sense for me to be saying, I see myself as having the biggest fashion brand in the world? In fact, are you not having headache listening to that? Because what concerns care work with fashion? Where is it meeting? If I answer like that, that tells my interviewer that this girl is not serious. This girl is just here to make money and live. Even if that may be my intention, why would I make myself that open? Why would I let them know that the main reason I'm doing this healthcare job is for me to make more money? This is a question that I don't have any issues answering, because thankfully I am very interested in the healthcare industry. If you are new here, my name is Adaeze Osadebe and I'm a social worker. We'll talk about that another day. So this question is very easy for me to answer. My answer would usually revolve around my social work profession. In fact, let me just read my own. In 5 years' time, I see myself forging my career in healthcare by pursuing advanced training in mental health, taking on leadership roles in the organization I'm in. I'm committed to professional development and contributing to the advancement of healthcare practices, ultimately making a positive impact on patient care and outcomes. Now, whether they believe me or not, I have made it quite clear that I care about the healthcare industry. I'm going to be in it in the long run, because think about it. As an employer, you don't want to employ someone that just wants to up and leave. Everyone is being selfish about their interests. You may want to be in the healthcare industry just to make money to fund whatever career you want later on. But your employer is also being selfish because they also want to have the best talent for as little stress as possible, because obviously each time an employee leaves, that money leaving, so they would rather want you to be there for longer, 5 years, 10 years. Some don't even want you to leave. So it's important to couch the answer to your question to reflect how you are passionate about the healthcare industry. So those are the 10 questions. I should have put the 11th question, but the 11th question is, do you have any question for us? And that question is something I've talked about in a lot of videos. And in fact, I'm going to be linking you up right now to a video where I talk about 10 interview tips to get the job. And if you watch that video, whatever questions you have will be answered. Don't forget that if you want my ebook guide that not only talks about the elevator pitch, but I have 50 plus questions and answers. Hey, I don't want to talk too much about this ebook guide. If you want it, check the description box and you have it. So my besties, if you have any questions, as usual, let me know and I'm in the comment section responding to you. Until I see you next time, stay blessed, remain happy, and bye.